Good morning. How's everybody doing? Well, I'm working my midnight shift, my security job again, and I've got a lot of positive feedback on a few of the videos I posted, like old police stories and whatnot. So, I was thinking about some things, and I figured, well, I'll share a couple more with you. So, one thing is, I've been on a lot of shootings, homicide scenes, things of that nature. Over 125. I don't know how many homicides, the exact number. I forgot on purpose. I didn't want to know. For shootings where people survived, I estimate somewhere around 300. So yeah, I've been on a lot of violent crime scenes. A couple of big ones that stand out that I remember is in 2013. I was at the shooting that happened at the U.S. Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. I'm sure you may have seen it on the news. I know that you can Google it and find out more if you want, but basically this is what went down. It was I happened to be working day work that day, and I was the watch commander, which means that I was the acting commander of the 1st District, and the city's divided up into 7 districts, so I was like, the man that day for the 1st District. So I just got me a cup of iced coffee, I remember, at the McDonald's there on South Capitol Street. And I remember I don't know if I said it out loud, thinking it or whatever, but I think I actually said it out loud. I said, I hope today is an uneventful day. Well, it wasn't no more than 15 seconds after that, a call come out for a shooting inside a Navy Yard. Now, first thing I was like, well, maybe this will be a bad call, because we never get calls in the Navy Yard. I mean, I worked in the city all my life. I'd only been in there a couple of times. No reason to go in there. But right after that, multiple calls coming in confirming shooting, then reports coming in, multiple victims, and I'm like, oh no, there's something more to this. This could be a terrorist attack or something. So I was right by the one of the entrances into the Navy Yard. I mean, I was just right there. And I remember I whipped in the gate. There was no guards at the gate, which was strange. It's a big facility, lots of different buildings. And so I remember I just, I ran into the security house, and I was thinking they got to have a map in there. Sure enough, right plain in the middle of the desk, plain in center, was a map. So okay, I knew where I was going, and building 213 is what I was looking for. So I hustled there, and when I arrived on the scene, there were about 7 or 8 other officers also arriving on the scene. We all got there at the same time. When we got there, there was a security officer who had been killed, who was laid across the front of the door, and we could hear the gunshots going off in the building, and you knew what was happening. And so I remember one of my sergeants, quick thinker, man, he grabbed the ID card off of the deceased security officer's jacket, ripped it up, swiped us, and got us into the building. And let me tell you, when you go into the building, when you hear boom, 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 it's different than what when you're watching something on TV, or when you go to the firing range. So luckily that day we had a lot of officers working overtime through a grant, and one of the stipulations that they got first choice is if they were AR-15 trained. So we had a lot of officers working overtime with AR-15s. So, after Columbine, a lot of police departments rethink the way they do things, and it's just still a change and evolving all the time. But the bottom line is, you don't wait, you go in. And so that's what's so perplexing about what happened, at that one school down in Florida, where they stay outside, because you have to go in and stop the threat, period. And so we started going in groups of 4, because at that time that's what we were trying. So we went in 4. There was about a 20-yard gap, and the next 4 goes in, And that day I didn't have an AR-15. I had my Glock service pistol, but you know, we started going up those steps, going up those stairs, and what happened was eventually he had killed 12 people who worked in the building, men, women, you know, indiscriminate. You know, and it was pretty horrible. You know, you see people on the ground, and excuse me for being graphic, but you know, their hands still held up, frozen, in self-defense positions, and you know, the guy had a shotgun, and that's what he was shooting people with. Although he did also use the security officer's gun. He after he killed him, he took his gun. He had a pistol that he took. So eventually he was tracked down to this area, and look, the people up there, they really didn't have a place to hide. It was like a bunch of cubicles. And so he shot 2 of our officers, the first 2 officers that were approaching him. He shot them. They took gunshot wounds to lower extremities. And then the 3rd officer in line, at about a distance of about 3 feet, put 2 AR-15 rounds into his face from 3 feet away. So, like I said, I'm not going to get graphic about it. You can imagine, all right? So, what I do remember, though, is the aftermath. There was a lot of confusion, we were getting multiple calls, gunshots in other buildings. We didn't know if there was more than one shooter. Calls were coming in from the other base down the road, Bolling Air Force Base. There were false reports. But we had to clear those buildings. We had to evacuate as many people as possible. And I know the few guys I was with, we evacuated probably, I'm estimating maybe 1,000 people. You know, I remember breaking a lock on a gym with a cinder block, with a brick, I mean, and reaching in and getting the gym door unlocked and having people go through that. And from the other side of that building, it led into a garage, and they just went out. They just told them, keep going as far as you can to hit the street. It was a long day. I know that I was there probably, I'm thinking 16, 17 hours. That crime scene itself was there for several days, because all the evidence has got to be collected, and it's got to be done. You know, this is an international incident, and so you know, it's got to be done right. And you know, all the news media shows up, you know, and I mean, anybody was there, but yeah, I was there, and you know, it's one of those things where I just happened to be across the street when it went down. So that day, 13 people were killed, including the gunman. 2 officers were shot. They survived. And I received a minor injury that day. I ended up tearing meniscus in my knee. And, you know, crawling around and stuff like that. You know, it's just, I'll say this, the feeling, it's hard to describe the feeling when you hear them gunshots going off, you know, because you're moving toward the danger, but you hear it, but you're trying to get there as fast as you can. It's not a scared feeling. It's a really nervous type feeling, you know, maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Your senses are very heightened and on alert, you know. But anyway, figured I'd share that with you. That's not the first time I was on a shooting where 13 people got shot. You can look this up too. You can Google it. It was on North Capitol Street, in front of the, I believe they're called Tower House Apartments, 1200 North Capitol Street, I think it is. And it was a drive-by shooting where 13 people got shot, and all survived. You know, it was crazy. These guys in the car came by, sprayed all the people in front of this building. I got there, everybody shot in their hands, arms, legs, feet, but nobody was killed. The bad guys in that got caught because they busted a red light, and it was a red light with one of those red light cameras. and so it snapped a picture of their tags. So we ended up, you know, their car was legally registered. They ended up getting caught. One crazy thing about that scene, I remember this one guy came out. This was like after we were almost done with the crime scene, and he's bleeding. He's got like his arm wrapped up, and he goes, "Well, yeah." He goes, "I guess I should get this looked at." He goes, "I got shot in the arm." He goes, "I just gonna wrap it up, but it won't stop bleeding." So I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "I think you need to go to the hospital, get that checked out." So anyway, thanks for letting me share. I'll keep recording these little stories as I remember them. And you guys have a good night, and we'll talk soon.